So this is really an important day. It'll be a new era for the neighborhood. If you remember, there was a pillar that stood there for more than 50 years. And it was right in front of the sign, and it at once stood for strength in the community. It once reminded neighbors as a monument that they were entering into Mills Park Estates, but through the years it became dilapidated. And really it became a sign, I think, of neighborhood decay, and most notably it became a haven for criminal activity because of the enormous place behind the pillar where I always tell people you could hide a Mini Cooper. It was so big back there that stuff can happen. And of course, January 1st last year, that was the culmination of activity when a body was discovered. And so that was heartbreaking for the neighborhood. But it was also a rallying point where residents had to make a decision. You know, what are we going to do about the issues that are occurring here? And can we do something to disallow this? Can we prevent this? And so we embarked upon this process. It's been about a whole year, and everyone's worked hard. There's a lot of people represented here today who have been a part of that. Last January on the 29th, Linda Smith and I, we hosted a community safety forum. About 70 residents came out. We began to have discussions, and then Linda got in touch with the owners of the original pillar. And it was actually there's a tiny parcel in front of that sign in the shape of a triangle, and the only thing on that parcel was the pillar, which was a strange situation when we figured it out. But the original developer owned that, and the original developer told us, well, we're willing to knock it down if the community wants that, but we're not willing to build something out or to allow you to build something in its place. And so we were exploring our options, what we can do, and then we began to talk with the Sacramento Area Sewer District because they own the parcel, everything from the sign, with all these rocks right here. And we explained our situation and really what our heart was, and tried to sift through potentials, what residents might like, and they very quickly jumped on board. Amy Norman was a real pleasure to work with throughout the whole entire year. We've exchanged quite a few emails, and they've just been really great and gracious, and they ultimately allowed us to put a sign on the property. But that didn't solve the problem. What about residents? What do they want? So we hit the streets. A lot of people here were a part of that team, along with the Folsom Cordova Community Partnership. We knocked on doors, and we got over 300 votes to ask residents, what would you like? And we proposed a plan that said, we'd like to knock down the sign and then build something beautiful in its place, or you can vote no to keep the pillar in its place. And 98% of residents, 98% voted to knock down the pillar and to create a new history for the neighborhood. And so that was wonderful. And then after that, we had a community yard sale. If you've never met the Rancho Cordova yard sale queen, this is Sue Quackenbush. And along with a posse of dedicated residents on Mills Park Drive in particular, and some other all-stars throughout the neighborhood, the community really embraced this. And in 3 days, over $5,000 was raised at a yard sale. And so that was incredible, and on top of that, what was an enormous blessing, we had some media coverage, and there was this guy named Joe Berg who was watching News 10, and he happened upon our story, and he gave us a call, and he said, hey, I own this sign company called Ainor Signs, and we'd like to do your sign. And so they called and said, after some money was raised, we would like to donate one to you. And so we were blown away, and really what that did, that afforded us an opportunity to have a sign that we couldn't have paid for ourselves, a better sign. A sign, if you notice, is off the ground. There's no more hiding out in our community. But also, that wrote us a blank check to the community because we have several $1,000s still that we haven't spent on this project that we can delegate to other projects that will come up in the community. So really, really thankful for that. And last but not least, there was a cleanup day over the last month. Residents came and filled an entire dumpster full of debris and trash from all along here. Councilmember Ken Cooley was there. We laid down some rock last Friday. Councilmember David Sanders helped out with that too, laying down the cloth. And it's really been quite the journey over the last year. So for everyone who has participated, thank you very much. We've sincerely removed an obstacle in the neighborhood that was going to hold back the neighborhood, and now we're ready for something new. And so I think over the last year we've grown stronger, We have a neighborhood e-group now, and we have a system for communication, and we have something to build on for the next year. So on that note, I'd really like to invite Sacramento area sewer district to come say a few words. So thanks so much.
Hi, my name is Christoph Dobson. I'm the Director of Operations for the Sewer District. And this is kind of a neat thing for me. We played a very small role, really, except for Amy, who I'm sure did a lot of work with Ryan. But I just really like it because our district, we basically take wastewater and get it down to the treatment plant safely. It's mostly with pipelines that are underground that you never see. And we're kind of behind the scenes, but we also have pump stations. Back here is one of our pump stations, and we have about 100 of those around the Sacramento area. And they're part of the community wherever they show up. And so we try, we're not always the greatest at it, but we try to make sure that they don't stand out and they're not an eyesore to the community. So it's kind of nice to be part of kind of fitting into the community and at least trying to match the character of the community. So not only the sign and the cobbles here, but we're also working with the city on further projects to do some wrought iron fencing here and also some kind of a treatment on the building to make it a little nicer. So hopefully that will meet everyone's satisfaction. I really appreciate being here, and I'm really impressed with your community and how you've come together and gotten this project going. So thank you.
Mayor McGarvey, would you like to say a few words?
My first house in Rancho Cordova we bought in 1967 on Silverwood Way. I imagine you guys have some idea where that street is. We were there for 12 and a half years, and one year all 4 of our kids are going to White Rock School. Well, you know, that sign that was there originally, people saw that and they could identify where they were because Folsom Boulevard was Highway 50 until in the mid-70s when they built the Highway 50 you're familiar with now. It was Blood Alley, believe me, because on Sunday especially, people coming from State Line, South Shore, this was it. Boy, I'll tell you what, it was quite a ride going through that. But to see the neighborhood today being able to get together and knock down that sign and put in something as beautiful as this and work together like you've been doing, it's unbelievable. I appreciate everything you've done with each other and for the city. I mean, this is my home since actually 1963. I was stationed at Mather. But we got the house here in 1967. We moved over to Rossmore area where you can go into the American River Parkway. But I didn't go very far when I moved. But you know, this is Rancho Cordova. This is where my heart is. And thank you for doing this for the city and for yourselves. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And Vice Mayor David Sander.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, it is a pleasure to be here, as my colleague, the mayor, mentioned. You know, I'm thinking about this sign and sort of the experience that this neighborhood has had surrounding this sign and this site, and it causes me to think about, you know, all of us are just sort of the sum of our experiences through life, and neighborhoods really aren't that different. You know, good things happen, bad things happen. The neighborhood of today is the sum of all those great things and some bad things that happen. The challenge is how you react to those experiences. And in this case, we have a prime example of why this is a great community here in Rancho Cordova. Because you didn't get knocked down by this adversity, by this bad thing that happened here. You made something positive out of it. You built yourselves up as a result of it. You strengthened yourself. You strengthened your neighborhood, as Ryan has said. And that is something that is of critical importance, not only to this neighborhood, but to our city as a whole. Right behind me is this little logo, Growing Strong Neighborhoods. Growing Strong Neighborhoods is about exactly this type of action. It's not about the city coming in to fix all of your problems, or the state, because goodness knows there isn't enough money or ability to do that. It's about citizens standing up the way we always have in this country for our neighborhoods, for our communities, and improving our lives and the lives of those around us. You guys have done that. In 2007, 2010, we were named an All-America City. And we won that. We won that award primarily because we have a community where people stand up and do things like this. And so this is just another great example of why Rancho Cordova is an All-America City. You guys are an All-American neighborhood and a strong neighborhood.
There's an All-America truck right there.
And we're proud to have you as part of our community. Congratulations.
And, Councilmember Ken Cooley.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and I'll just speak loud. Like my colleague Bob McGarvey, Sidney and I first experience of Rancho Cordova was in the White Rock neighborhood. We lived in one of those 3 duplexes over the fence from Ryan Lundquist between Portsmouth and the laundromat. That's where Sidney and I started out. So it's an honor to be here in this neighborhood, and I want to acknowledge my colleague Dan Scogan, who's here, who serves on the sewer board and therefore played a key role in what we see unfolding. Dan Scogan right there. And Ryan, I just want to honor you and honor your community. You know, when Ryan talks, you hear we, you hear residents, you hear neighborhood. You know, Ryan is an example. One of my favorite quotes about leadership is the job of the leader is not to challenge people, but to get them to challenge themselves. And Ryan has a great gift of being able to see a tangible, concrete problem that he believes if you put a spotlight on it, people will find it in their hearts to respond. You see that in Project 680, you see that in this matter. You know, and I think it is a gift. It's not just the residents, it's Ainor Signs, who looked at this and said, we can make a difference here. We can buy into this vision. And I completely agree with David Sander. There's not enough money in anyone's public purse to pay for everything that we'd like to see. But this capacity to release energy, to focus people on a challenge in front of them and release their energy to respond is a great, great community gift. So I'm honored to be here, but you know, us elected officials are just a small change in this proceeding. It's really, you know, this heart of Rancho, this heart of the White Rock neighborhood responding to this in such a wonderful way. And so I'm just, again, honored to be here. It's a great day. And we've been working on Rancho for a long time, Linda.
Thank you.
White Rock neighborhood.
Thank you.
Is Tony Wong with Alyson Huber's office? Oh, Tony, if you'd like to.
How are you? Thank you very much, Ryan. And I'd like to say on behalf of Assemblymember Huber that I want to congratulate the White Rock neighborhood and the city of Rancho Cordova, because as many of the elected officials already said, you know, we often get neighbors, you know, us individual or neighbors who say, you know what, we need to do something to make our neighborhood a little better. We'd like to see some improvement in our neighborhood. Very rarely do we actually get what's occurred here today, which is the neighbors getting together and actually making that happen. And on behalf of Assemblymember Huber, who couldn't be here today, I'd like to just recognize the White Rock neighborhood with a certificate that says, you know, congratulations.